Kutsia, we're gonna just go right ahead, and whenever you're ready, you can go start. You can go ahead and start. Thank you.
Sorry, yeah, I think I'm ready. It's just...
Yeah, whenever you're ready, I'll have you live. No problem. Go ahead.
Good morning. Over the year, we have witnessed brutality after brutality, and it's in this shared space where we as poets gather to voice our support for Palestine and Lebanon. In this coming together, we rise to say that we stand for humanity, hope, and harmony. I'll begin by marking this space with a poem by Denise Levertov called Making Peace. A voice from the dark called out, the poets must give us imagination of peace to oust the intense, familiar imagination of disaster. Peace, not only the absence of war, but peace, like a poem, is not there ahead of itself, can't be imagined before it's made, can't be known except in the words of its making, grammar of justice, syntax of mutual aid. A feeling towards it, dimly sensing a rhythm, is all we have until we begin to utter its metaphors, learning them as we speak. A line of peace might appear if we restructured the sentence our lives are making, revoked its reaffirmation of profit and power, questioned our needs, allowed long pauses. A cadence of peace might balance its weight on that different fulcrum. Peace, a presence, an energy field more intense than war, might pulse then, stanza by stanza into the world, each act of living one of its words, each word a vibration of light, facets of the forming crystal. Now I shall introduce the readers who will be reading for this segment, who I would just like to mark as the facets of this forming crystal of solidarity. Sasha Akhtar is an OG first-gen poet, double immigrant, activist, artist consumed by conscious decolonial praxis in aid of revolution. Her publications are relentless. In Sasha's words, I'll rest when I'm dead. The Grimoire of Grimalkin dropped October 2024, anarchist visual hand-drawn poems Void Song in 2023. Kasim Ali is the chair of the Department of Literature at the University of California, San Diego. His most recent book is Sukoon, New and Selected Poems. Ali's poems, both lyric and musical, explore the intersection of faith and daily life. Hannah O'Mara is a British visual artist and poet whose work has been published by the International Human Rights Arts Movement in anthologies by the Renard Press and by the UCL Writers Block magazine. Her writing is inspired by her Baloch heritage and its indigenous traditions of poetry and storytelling through spoken word. Hannah draws on themes of displacement, womanhood, and identity, seen through a lens of diaspora and a love of humanity. Muniba Mahmood is a self-described compulsive writer and poet whose work frequently explores the intersection of identity, heritage, spirituality, and social justice. Muniba channels her passion for storytelling into a creative and literary arts initiative, Rawani, which is dedicated to fostering and preserving authentic creative expression from underrepresented communities. An alumni of the Faber Academy and Columbia University, Muniba draws on her background in marketing and interests in history, politics, and development to her craft and her writing. Sabine Chowdhury is a poet, producer, researcher, and editor. Her poems have been published in magazines such as Gutter, Spam, and Lud Gang. Rimming the Event Horizon is her first collection, poems from which have been longlisted for the Ivan Juritz Prize and highly commended in the Forward Prizes. Roy Duffield has more work you can read in Feminist Review, Songs of Revolution, Poems Against Oppression, Osmosis, Lucent Dreaming, Ink, Sweat and Tears, and other publications for the conscious. It's won some stuff and been nominated and shortlisted for other stuff. Roy is also the author of Bacchus Against the Wall, which was published in 2023. Maliha is a London-based Pakistani writer and translator. Her writing journey yearns to find home in objects, people, and places. Her poems have a consistent theme of human absurdity, paradox, and nostalgia. Sophia Naz is a bilingual poet, artist, author, editor, and translator. She has been nominated twice for the Pushcart Prize, in 2016 for creative nonfiction and in 2018 for poetry.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kazim Ali, and I'm happy to join you here remotely via recording for the global reading in solidarity with Lebanon and Palestine. I'm going to read you a poem called Driving from Qalandia Checkpoint to the Jordan River. And that landscape across the country is a landscape that has been impacted so deeply by the long occupation of the Palestinian territories. And this question of who owns a land and why. What did the land feel about it? We drive along that wall where are drawn pictures of resistance. A girl holding balloons, borne skyward on her way to the barricaded sea. Soldiers turning their hands against the wall, consenting to be searched. Barghouti's face, a prisoner all these long years. These scenes tagged on the concrete wall, unspooling as we drive away, secure in the expensive cab with Israeli plates that allows us the privilege of zipping along, hoping to reach the river before sunset, preserving us from the checkpoints. Fog enters even now, the cordoned-off river, slipping through border control. No one can fathom whether the terrain's composer intended such erosion, such a suicide mission. On cold, bright hills, all the reciters stumble over who begat whom and why, when there is no saving, least of all us, long after the river has emptied. How can what pulls us from one another be called God? In the long-held breath of autumn that shudders, leaves are left to drink deep of the well water and reave themselves from what grew them, and inside, rubble of dinner tables and bedclothes, a revelation paid out in spades, rain folding its hand, nor can I refrain from describing the ruin of this biblical landscape, the qarub and olive trees now disrupted by surveillance towers. Every small shift here is seismic. It shrieks through the years with deathly import. That small hill is the mountain upon which stood the Ark of the Covenant. That little creek is the river in which the Baptist stood starstruck before the sun. All the mythic cities are unimaginable. In the crumbling capital, glass bells clang out broken promises. The road of martyrs is claimed by every combatant. The grove of olives weeps. The glass river aims a rapid-fire retort. Stay strong, everyone. Stay alive. Resist.
Hello, I'm Hannah Ormara. In the words of the great Gazan poet and intellectual Mouin Bezezo, translated by another great Palestinian poet, Jehan Bezezo, from a letter to the barbed wire, that I would see you again for the first time, homeland. My poem that I will read for you today is called When Will We Feet to Ground? It's written for all internally and forcibly displaced people, to the beautiful people of Lebanon and Palestine. When will we feet to ground walk? Walk with our shadows. Walk to greet the shade of date trees, touch the bark of our trees, without mechanized hyenas clawing. When will we open eyes to skies where we are one with our mothers? Land sunlight says you are not lost. The sunlight everywhere tells us you are not lost, lighting the faces of hyenas, mechanized to take the soles of our feet. Without feet, we are still human, running from our trees, running from shelter. They are peeling our memory. Thousands die running from floods diverted. Flood drains are the evaporated tears of people who are being erased. Avarice diverts avalanches of floods, and avalanches of floods are the melted desires of dislocated consciences. Avarice is drowning us into its borders. It moves like a cloak of fur, skimming the sky, watching hyenas. The sky does not see avarice. Sky sees migrating animals moving on earth and asks, why are these animals stitched with gold? My people see brocaded pelts. My people know the light of the sun. My people see avarice's underbelly is a raw hide tattooed with every face taken. Faces taken for the soles of their feet. The feet of my people are bleeding on borders, and inside borders they are running, screaming and drowning. We have become a sea of bullets. No one can see a sea of bullets because seas of bullets are filtered by artificial intelligence. Intelligence is not artificial, and bullets are not artificial. Bullets are inhumane, hungry for earth, for land and gold. Avarice is hungry for people who cry in their homes, bleeding, running and crying in the place of their birth. My children run barefoot. My children carry pumping hearts, running from hyenas, mechanized to take the soles of our feet. My children run on gravel and water and stone. Our waters are full of typhoid. Avarice is not affected by typhoid. My children are not heard. My children are dying, crying out in a language that is being erased. My children will not be erased. Our children will not be disinherited of their date trees. The power of sunlight will not allow our children to be disinherited. They will inherit their mountain and gravel and water and stone. My children will name their bodies and waters in their language. Our people will not be disinherited. I call you from the distance, people are life. We call out from the distance, people are love. We will speak for all of you running, crying, bleeding and drowning. We will speak for you inside borders and outside of borders. Sunlight calls out for life. Diaspora calls out for life. Humanity calls out for life. You are life. You are not forgotten. One day will arrive. We will arrive, one with our shadow, one with our feet on the earth. We will be one with ourselves under the shade of our trees. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much, Kutsia, Kazim, and Hannah for your beautiful readings. I'm going to start by reading a poem by a Palestinian American poet called Nur Hindi. And then I'll read a poem of mine that wasn't written to respond to it, but kind of has a connection to it, I would say, in a way. So the poem by Nur Hindi is called Fuck Your Lecture on Craft, My People Are Dying. Colonizers write about flowers. I tell you about children throwing rocks at Israeli tanks, seconds before becoming daisies. I want to be like those poets who care about the moon. Palestinians don't see the moon from jail cells and prisons. It's so beautiful, the moon. They're so beautiful, the flowers. I pick flowers for my dead father when I'm sad. He watches Al Jazeera all day. I wish Jessica would stop texting me, Happy Ramadan. I know I'm American because when I walk into a room, something dies. Metaphors about death are for poets who think ghosts care about sound. When I die, I promise to haunt you forever. One day, I'll write about the flowers like we own them. So I'm going to read a poem of mine called G. And G stands for Gasteranthus extinctus, and that is the name of a flower that ecologists thought was extinct, so they named it thus. And then they found it alive and well in Ecuador, and it's indigenous to a place called the Centinela Ridge. G. This season I wear my begrudging resilience in orange, a glow in the belly of my vanishing, deferred at every moment, a rediscovered flower named after its own extinction. Though I am no Lazarus, no miracle, clear-cutting for your recursive guilt and minus stain understory. I have been here all along, taking cover under wisped solidarity in dew-pointed defiance, while you were all so very sure I was dead. When I pass over the edge of the ridge, I will appear to you as an apparition, while simultaneously reincarnating in an unknown location. All boy, all girl, I could be sea glass, peaches, jealousy. When the white man comes to take a sample, I'm hacked by his racializing whimsy, that haggling erotics of the specimen. There is limerence and yoke in the sound of trees being felled. Enter disloyalty of a haggling mist. I hush myself post-striadic, post-woman, post-evil, processual lesser goddess. Come and go now they, all soil and somersault in blood of the sap kind, propagate themselves in this disgrow and disgust me. They can only say what runs green and all red doesn't matter as us in the way they think, though we turned blaze our forte anyway. Flickering sprouts fogged for safety, and all split up but calling kin and beyond in a language of whispering beacons. Oh, you love me now, do you? Diligent herb, surprising petal, bruised verticality, chic cutting, filled with survivor epiphany, assimilating into my own ends, Centinela finale on repeat. But surely you didn't think I'd go that easily, rolling my R's and falling my name. He looks into my eyes in stupid physiognomic spree, grunting, and I bite him. I will bite him until every end and then after, until the next one and again. Flail cyclical in knot steam amid my jaw and my decisions. One of me will rub his face in it. while others go off to undulate or glimmer, drip, delight, or covet. So the next poem I'm going to read is about solidarity and community, but it responds to the atomic bomb tests and the horrific effects of that in a way. Sket life. She is getting up on the wrong side. As irradiated coral dust, falling she, vaporized islands now, dots the eye penumbral, becomes the morning breeze and then weightless, skips the rope communal, moving sket-like, leaking the noose. Suspension is her moth-fisted alibi, buoyant labour that clangs the colour of shadows on the sea. Anticipating gravity's agenda this time, stretches the legs of her spirit of shade. Side-eye with friends, they cackle and stride through storms, floods, atoll craters, eyeshadow fallout, a toxified drop on the end of a leaf. Together, they say, fake snow, don't smile. Every other spiral, detonation, they turn to one another and mouth. Miss you. When can I see you? Thank you.
I hope you can hear me all right. And the good news. To start each day, I paper cut the whites of both eyes, weep red seas into the watery blindness of my morning retreat, dig the news print deep into each hole for an eye. The burn of the mascara brush gouges the empty pupil of a forced bride. I feel each stabbing birth pang, every exit wound of the miscarriage of a misused uterus of useless stories and abuses. I want to fight off the ones holding you down for so long you forgot to keep crying. But instead I come, late for work as usual, and dab the wounds with raw alcohol, and the good news is paper cuts tend to stop hurting in less than a day. Belief. If, when you first heard it, you believed that not one man, but an organized body of human beings brought a rapist's blade to the neck of not just one innocent babe, but 40 of them, maybe you should ask yourself, who stabbed this sick idea so deep in your head, and why, and when? And maybe you should cut it out before your hands are stained an even deeper red. This is how to sink the Titanic. So, we're here below. Everyone's welcome on a sinking boat. Interpretive dance. Interpret my ass. Don't let them. Keep it subtle. Don't stay cool. Your phone is a prop, is a maraca, is a grenade, is lithium plate. At a wedding, on a cruise in the Med in Greece. Don't pay the nickel. Piss here. Stand your ground. It's not yours, but it's not theirs either. It's not your fault if they laid steel girders and cement, if they raised 5 floors between you and it. Protect others. Use your hands. Deflect. Unmodel your kitchen. Have your drive undone. Set an example for the neighbors. Go on, take a slash at the pockets of your bank, at your reflection in the bulletproof glass. On their side, they have all the diamond cutters that even fingers in the rain can squeal. And even pigs for the slaughter can upset the stomach of a deaf butcher, no matter what color their earphones. Blow the empire. take it anyway. How many Irish whistles have choked on the bathing salts of Arctic seas, still, at least, survived by whale song? Piss everywhere. For the whales, it's no skin off their nose. The steel girders and cement, though, are quite an elemental. As a word. One day, I hope to be as free, as unchained to any meaning as a word, like law, like love, like terrorist. And now I'm just going to read this last one a bit longer. One of the first poems I wrote about media culpability. The Ballad of the Newsman. The newsman cometh, bleach white cloak, sound stomach, and canonically clean conscience. The townspeople, fuck all else to do, stand, needlessly handling themselves in the rain, eagerly anticipating his coming. Gather round, children, to hear what's new, what's relevant, and most importantly, what's true. Each a genius in his own eyes, a fucking fuckwit in his neighbour's eyes, they only have eyes for the newsman, highly qualified, they're sure. There's nothing but respect, except the rebel. Thinks he sees spots, cold blood, stains on the newsman's cloak. But all the people know, he's crazy, he's just a boy. The governor, his debts to the newsman locked away in the cabinet, filed under regret, with all the rest. Hate mail, blackmail, unflattering photographs, prefers instead a dirty bath in his counting house, counting all his expenses receipts, wishing he had the newsman's hairline. The invaders are in your very midst, the newsman admits. The people start having fits, but not before paying him handsomely for his services. Meanwhile, the rebel catches a bad case of deja vu, swears he's heard it all somewhere before, this breaking news. But all the people know, that's crazy, he's just a boy. The newsman speaks with confidence, clarity, that unquestionable authority they teach in journalism school in front of a mirror. The rebel has never seen a mirror. He's always been quiet and shy, and try as he might, fails to make himself understood. The invader cometh, the newsman warns, his plastic crown of thorns, worn perfectly straight, every smile, laugh, and comma in its rightful place. The people, invaders themselves just yesterday, sadly have Alzheimer's and dementia, are blind, partially deaf, and completely dumb. They're builders most, and builders feel most mass destruction of their beautiful homes. They build houses out of money, and very occasionally get money out of houses. The rebel dreams of other rebels in other towns better, but suspects the newsman has been censoring his letters with the latter's dove feather pen. But remember, he's crazy, he's just a boy. The rebel appeals to the book, but the newsman plays by the book, for the book, even plays golf with the book on occasion. Eat dog or be eaten, kill or be killed, beat or be beaten, is the newsman's advice, as he slips out with his handsome pay just before the fight. So the people, itching for fun, let bygones be, buy guns, polish their guns, needlessly handle their guns, shooting slugs and snails too slow, small, and frail to put up a decent fight. The rebel suffers, sighing in silence, that is, until people start dying in silence. He missed school the day they taught the meaning of life, but feels quite sure it's not to stand idly by, watch, and say nothing, while people die of ignorance and violence. If 2,000 people are wrong, and one lone rebel is right, surely wrong must be right, and right must be wrong. Lord, there's nothing wrong with needlessly handling yourself in the rain. The governor hires Poppy. Poppy appeals to the people who love her soft rosy cheeks, all just to justify an invasion on the invaders. The rebel who sees her black plastic heart burns Poppy. The people go from soppy to ballistic. They love Poppy. Poppy knew their grandma, and they love their grandma. How can the rebel see a black heart when he finds it so impossibly hard to see invaders from invaders? He's crazy. He's just a boy. Don't you know an invader when you see one, boy? He must have missed school the day they taught that too. Actually, just yesterday, not too far back in time, Grandma gave the newsman a piece of her mind, stood up and spat in his eye, but the people sadly have Alzheimer's. All that's left of Grandma is the relic, which the people polish with one hand, the other proudly waving to the newsman. The Relic is a German porno mag, hardcore of course, featuring pictures of grandma's fancy dressed up corpse, milfs and porgs, and peppered with puppies, written by the newsman, under his dove feather pen name. The rebel appeals to the treasurer of the social club. He knows the rebel's not crazy. He's connected, but lazy. And besides, the social club get off on the smell of blood and lies, and build money out of clubhouses. So the rebel attempts to assassinate the newsman. So the newsman says, "Such a shame," say the rebel's family and friends. "He's just a boy, but sadly the book just can't be bent." The rebel is assassinated by the book. Scissors cut paper, rock beats scissors. Fear suffocates kindness, causes blindness. The newsman, on his way to inform the invaders, but which ones, of the coming war, make one last big score, and feed his family of one you were expecting 4, is accidentally trampled to the floor by the invaders, but which ones? Does it matter? He knew them both. In fact, he taught them everything they know. Oh, sorry, you didn't know. The newsman's handsome pay scattered worthless in the dust. A yin-yang shaped battlefield just yesterday at Builder's house. A tragedy, a crying shame, the very thing they went to war to try to save. There's cold blood on his cloak, finely woven, with little white lies. Blood on his hands, blood in his stool, and in the sober light of day, just one of the people after all. His high qualifications, they're sure, are nowhere to be found. Peace is restored, for now. Turns out wrong was wrong after all, but the people sadly have Alzheimer's. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sasha Akhtar, and it's an absolute honor to be able to express solidarity for all the oppressed, and in particular Palestine and Lebanon. Darling revolutionary, how late the sun stays out. It is for you too, not just the few. All that is there for your joy, even if existence is not. Darling revolutionary, the voices of children are buried in the land, one after the other, yet we hear them. Darling revolutionary, take a seed from your home, plant it anywhere, it will grow, revel in it, just one flower, you. Darling revolutionary, you and I are forced out wherever we go. It's okay. See, we grow anywhere. Darling revolutionary, you love too much. You don't even notice how they other you. Your skin wouldn't matter if you were home, but they dismantled it. Darling revolutionary, you were born. That is all of it. Your right to existence. Darling revolutionary, you never forget. Thank you for this gift. Darling revolutionary, sometimes do try to forget, or the pain might kill you. And we need you alive until they kill us anyway. Darling revolutionary, don't despair. Your devotions breed parity, even if you can't see it yet. Darling revolutionary, the world has always dreamt of you. Darling revolutionary, learn all the words. The same thing will mean different things. This is how you expand to create new songs. Darling revolutionary, evening will always drop as morning always rises. Darling revolutionary, don't believe a word of it. You know better. Darling revolutionary, are you hearing voices? Let me hold you as you listen to the wind. Darling revolutionary, nothing dies forever. This is why you are so tired. Darling revolutionary, you cannot keep everyone safe. Darling revolutionary, the dream of flight is a memory. Darling revolutionary, the blood will out. Darling revolutionary, your utopia is radical. It too can invade these who have never experienced anything else and burn away malignancy. Darling revolutionary, it pains me to see you this way. Darling revolutionary, the animals are on your side. Learn their language. Darling revolutionary, I wrote something for you. Agar zindagi rahe to phir milenge. But some meetings are better in death. Darling revolutionary, your rest is necessary. Don't let their violence inflict you. Darling revolutionary, arm yourself with tears to feed the tree of life. Darling revolutionary, now I must leave you and watch the spider spinning her web at dusk and hold hands with night falling closer. I always dream of you. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, everyone. I'll be reading some poems in Urdu. ये जहदे मुसलसल नहीं है तो क्या है, रोज आंखों को सुर्ख कर लेना, क्योंकि सुर्खों की कमी से दुनिया बहुत शर्मिंदा है इंसानों से, मुफलिसों बेयारों मददगारों से। ये जहदे मुसलसल नहीं है तो क्या है, रोज मगरिब के पहर अपने फटे कुर्ते को शीरखारों की तरह चिमटाना, उसको कहना कि अभी और उसे चल चल कर सुर्ख करना है दिल मुस्तर को, उसको कहना कि कोई बात नहीं चाक गरेबा होना, उसको कहना कि ज़माने के लगाए हुए बेहुदा दाग कीमती ज़र हैं अगली दहाई के लिए, उसको कहना कि बटन टूट गए हैं तो क्या, ये तो एक मश्क है जदीद फ़न आराइश की, उसकी पिघली हुई अकड़न को ज़रा ही तकल्लुफ़ भी कलफ मत देना, उससे उठती हुई बदबू को ख़त्म मत करना, उसके उलझे हुए धागों को न सुलझाए कोई, इसको ऐसे ही गरीबी के लबों से तन्हा चूसना है ज़िंदगी। इस इंसान के हिस्से में है लाखों का कफन, इसके पेचीदा हवादिस में करोड़ों रूहें अपना घर ढूंढती हैं, इसके सीने में धड़कते हैं कईयों के दिल, इसकी आंखों में है ख्वाबों की थकन सदियों की। ये जहदे मुसलसल नहीं है तो क्या है। नज़्म को रोक नहीं सकते तुम, उसको आना हो तो फिर आके ही दम लेती है। नज़्म बच्चे की तरह गोद में चढ़ जाती है, हाथ से बिखरे हुए बालों को आहिस्ता से और कुछ और भी बिखरा देना, नज़्म महबूब सी बन जाती है। नज़्म उंगली को पकड़ लेती है छोटी वाली और खुद ही से कसम देती है लिख देने की। नज़्म तलवों से चिमट जाती है मट्टी की तरह, बेहया घर को मेरे साथ चली आती है। नज़्म को हुक्म नहीं दे सकते तुम, नज़्म को ना की नहीं है आदत, नज़्म हदर्जा मिजाज रखती है, नज़्म का कान मरोड़ोगे तो आएगी नहीं, नज़्म का हाथ झड़कने से बहुत अरसे तक अपना चेहरा वो दिखाएगी नहीं, नज़्म का वक्त मुकर्रर पे अदा हो जाना उसका एहसान है, मौजूदगी पर उसका एहसान है, फरसूदगी पर। मेरी और उज्जू की बात है। आज भी इतनी बातें थी करनी, बताना था कि अंदर शहर की बत्ती बुझी हो तो गली के कुमकुमे नहीं लगते अच्छे, और ये भी कि मेरी आंखों में हैरत अपनी मौजूदगी पे फट गई है धमाके से। अब रोज हैरतों से, नई हैरतों से एक चेहरा बनाता हूँ, उसे हाथों से छूता हूँ, उसे होंठों से पीता हूँ, उसके पाँव पे फिर कुछ लम्हा थक के लेट जाता हूँ। मैं बिल्कुल इस तरह अम्मी के कदमों पर तनाई सर लिटाता था, उसे मट्टी बनाता था। मैं अम्मी से खुदा तक इसी तरह तो पहुंच पाता था। अरे उज्जू, तुम्हें ये भी बताना है कि कहवा अच्छा लगता है। मैं पीता हूँ तो ईरानी सकाफत मुंह में जैसे घुल ही जाती है। कोई है जिसकी आंखों में कशिश कहवे की से हो, सुनहरी और मीठी, एक ही घूंट में बेजुबा बेमजा जुबान शीरीं कर दे। यहाँ लंदन की सड़कें और उन पे चलते पांव बातें करते हैं, सफर की तलखियों को बांट लेते हैं। ये जूते, सड़कें और पांव बाकायदा गैंग है इनका। क्या अमेरिका में भी जूतों के नीचे पानी छुप जाता है और घर आ जाता है? तुम्हें थोड़ी पता है मुझे घर चाहिए ही नहीं, मुझे घर जाना ही नहीं है। मैं अब ये मान बैठा हूँ कि घर एक प्यारा सपना है, आयत है, माफ़ी है, दो नाराज लोगों के बीच सिला रहमी का वक़्फ़ा है। घर तो नज़्म लिखना है, घर तो शीर ख़ार का आंसुओं से खिलखिलाना है, घर लौट जाने वाले एहसासों का वापस लौट आना है, घर तो अब्बू का उस दिन फ़ोन आना है। थैंक यू।
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me and for organizing this beautiful event. The poetry that we've heard so far has been very moving, and is really important at such a time when we've seen so many horrors around the world, in Lebanon and Palestine specifically over the last year, for more than a year now in Palestine. To introduce myself, I'm Muniba Mahmood. I'll start by reading a poem that I wrote over the Christmas season last year in response to a prompt to writing a poem that was cheerful when I was struggling to feel, as happy as everybody else around me. Frost ices over hearts, unsmiling sun thaws through multi-latitudes. Festive lights sprinkled around like stardust of the prettiest kind. Dark falls early, goes unnoticed, well concealed by sparkling lights. Walking through miles of concrete splendor, offices, malls beckon to the coveted life. The air is drunk on jolly carols. A jarring scream in my brain does smite. We're dreaming of a white Christmas in colors green and red, yet in my nightmares, sobbing pools of blood, images of thousands injured and dead. Our world, billions. Santa gives presents to some, at most millions. There are no-go spaces for reindeer too. Some places even 8 can't go. I'm told to be silent and not say more, for ugly truths are not meant to be told. I'm struggling to participate more, though I'm doing my best to try. I'm not trying to be difficult. You see, my truth is, I never stopped thinking about the genocide. Civilized, peaceful, our world, undid our truth, lies we bought into. I've been unimpressed since long back, ever since the mind started to know. Yet the eyes cannot now unsee, and the truth my heart does seek. Who was made poorer for this wealth, and whose world darkened for the lights? And when it comes to my people, could you at least pause to think twice? Now, the next poem that I'm going to read pays tribute to the beautiful people of Gaza, of Palestine. And it pays tribute to the resilience that they have shown, resilience that nobody should ever be called on for. This poem attempts to take lessons through spirituality and through the lessons of nature, and it's called The Land Knows. They say the earth carries memories, and branches sway news to the clouds. Swirls of wind rise like souls to the sky, and watchful birds the air surround. They fly across skies bearing the news, but the humans don't pay heed. They stubbornly refuse. For elsewhere, the world is consumed with excess. Amidst comfort and ease, misery is easy to forget. They say the sun still shines on a rainy day, but I can see no rainbow in sight. Perhaps the storm appears before a calm, and the earth bears witness to this plight. Howling winds of a raging tornado, cursed, agonizing cries of hurt rage, sweeping through lives, nothing spares in its wake. Hospital floors run out of space. Paralyzed, unanesthetized, amputates, a branch, a tree, the mantle of the earth, tremors through the land in the dark black night. For some, it never merely rains, heavy it does forever pour, a harrowing, hollowing cry through the land does bore. From the eye of the tornado, misery is broadcast to the world. Travel far their bloodied cries, their suffering pierces my soul. Yet the storm surrounds a calm, serene despite their pain. Last goodbyes to the soul of their souls. Many other goodbyes remain stories untold. The moon glares with white cold temper, and glowering sun with anger seeds. Birds and beasts begin to fear the heat, and trees tremble for what they perceive. Yet still, those who now walk through fire will emerge unburnt from this blight, as the heat has once before deferred for another bearer of light. In the eye of the storm, the vision finds clarity. The sun shines on a rainy day, and though I don't see a rainbow yet, they know, and I begin to see, from where their souls this comfort get. The earth soothes for the truth it knows, and all of creation is reverent to their souls. With comforting, soft welcome, the land their bodies receives. From there, on that day, they shall rise, and the Lord to them shall speak. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Sophia Naz, and the poem I'm going to read today is called Gaza Bombay Suture. And I was in India when the latest iteration of the genocide began. And this is a poem of solidarity for Palestine from the beleaguered Muslims of India who are suffering their own version of a slow genocide under Modi. Gaza Bombay Suture. Epigraph. What's the warp and what's the weft running through this weaving? Kabir. By the tongue where tomorrow and yesterday are one, call out juxtaposition of the scroll, sutra of future past and tense present to court of recall. Ash, snow of extinction, settler dust, the milk glass moon, gazing in tombstone silence above Khan Yunus. Soon this will be a view abridged. Our museum shoulders each drag and shrug, Jabalia, the abattoir of Gaza city. Tiny ocean in the land where yesterday and tomorrow are one. Tiny ocean of blood-soaked gauze, my firstborn. On replicating screens, shape-shifters ingress. A river that never sleeps is a woman. Staple seams of plastic, viral sieve at airport lounges, arrivals, departures, stations of belonging in crosshairs, steeping into seas, seas rising into clouds, clouds falling into grains, grains moaning into ears, playing on a loop, cynical, cyclical. A dog whistle swallows the tidal pearl of Haji Ali, and night and day the avian, Leviathan crane. Dark water, kissing feet of her dead, aqueous return. Homelessness lodges in the throat, orphaned cursive bead of sound. All the carcinogens we cannot see, circling crowds to cross-check caste with biometrics. Each ordinance decrees their disappearance. Nouns exist as yeast, ambient absence, holes in bread make us kin even in the breaking. East of whose meddling? West of Asia. Hearts beat and breathe beads of deadly heat. Liminal dove, hoverer, halfway house of heaven and earthly shove, bomb blast, feather singed. On curved concrete hemline they ripple, reappear. Exploded hearth, no millimeter unscarred, beholder of charred. The scene's necklace repeat, rosaries of despair.
I'd like to extend a warm thank you to all the readers for sharing this space today, and I will complete the reading with a poem of my own called Jamshed's Cup. I is constantly discerning in this globe's overexposure of watchdogs, big wheels, pitchmen and pitchforks. News relayed all day in the churn, forged and fishy, perceptive grasps of think pieces, matter over mind absorption, empty spirituality, nervous tremors, and the swelter strikes counting down. The sheltered few unwind what I can be, snickering through endless codes of morality, but. I emerges and suffuses in hot air. I circles dry land to find the well. I returns to drink from it. I knows the eye is veiled. I knows that life is recalling until it returns. I weaves a grass in the Kutsia Berg, red sandstone walls. I is in northern Nigeria, Nana Asamu writes. I is the Queen of Sheba, Bilqis the gift giver. I spreads, returns, and confesses a Gilead lives. I hosts Begum of Bhopal, a mountain of light. I apologizes for never writing to you, for never becoming what you desire. I is a physical manifestation of the soul's search. The dwarf and orbiting go back to origins. I reels under birdless skies and hot tiles with a dream to near the Giswa in this fever. Echoes of land from which the soul descends, this interspace of its witnessing and telling. Bind the self to a grander ideal. Iqbal draws upon the seed of imagination to retell the same dream. I responds in spherical movement, celestial bodies marking the face of the innate desire to hope for a diffusion of calm in an arrested world. Governed by Pharaoh's regime, Musa divined God's revelation, a small ark, a holy hole, and sent her baby into the unrevealed, and felt in her heart a parching grief. I tried to recall the reunion of mother and child, of self and self, of you in me. Thank you very much.